Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Today I'm making some lighter sleeves out of leather. I'm using Adobe Illustrator to make a pattern today. I've made these lighter sleeves before, but I've always just eyeballed them, and I figured for reproducibility it'd be better to formalize a pattern. Get that surfboard away from the printer. I don't want to brag, but I have gone surfing once since I've been living in San Diego for over a year and a half. I'm somewhat of a soul surfer. But anywho, get that. Print it out, looks pretty good. Take it back to the laboratory. Got that handy dandy cutting mat. Get this paper pattern cut out, and I'm gonna adhere it to some cereal box cardboard. Just make it a little sturdier so I can use it again in the future. Dig through my reserves to find some Elmer's glue from the 3rd grade, at least I assume. I don't know when the last time I used glue was. Get that paper attached to that cereal box cardboard. You gotta make do with what you have. Always use those scraps. Cut out the pattern. Got that good X-Acto knife. You can go far with just a single X-Acto knife. All right, digging through some old leather. One of the nice things about small projects like making lighter sleeves is it doesn't require a very big piece of leather. And so can you make a lot of use out of scraps that otherwise would have just gone to waste. So always nice when you can repurpose some old materials. So that little tool in my hand was a scratch awl. It's good for tracing out the pattern you're about to cut. And here's some glue. So I want to say this is some Feeblings leather glue something. This was my first time using it. In the past, I've always used contact cement. And one of the nice things about contact cement is it's super sticky. So you adhere it to the object and then you let it get super tacky. And that's why I got a heat gun, because I was like, let me speed up the process of drying so I can stick it together faster. I did not realize I was doing this totally wrong. This type of glue that I'm using is water-based, and you're supposed to stick it right away. You're not supposed to wait for it to get dry and tacky. It doesn't really get dry and tacky. Overall, it's just a weaker bond. Now I know I was doing it wrong, but you have to make some mistakes. Punching some holes so I can sew this sleeve together. Those are some Cinnabrock hole punches. They're great. And that's a rubber punching board. Anyone that does crafts, you need to get a little handheld vacuum. This thing is a game changer. I do all of my crafts from my bedroom, and I prefer not to have a bunch of leather dust and particles flying around in the air as I'm trying to go to bed. That right there is a stitching pony. Some people stitch by hand and just kind of hold the project and bounce it between their hands. Having a stitching pony really is quite a game changer. Just to be able to free up both your hands makes the process go a lot faster, in my opinion. Got the sewing needles, probably going to use to poke myself at least 5 times over the course of this project. Sewing is probably the longest part of the process. At some point, I would like to get a sewing machine specifically to work with leather, but because of the nature of how thick leather is, specific leather sewing machines cost, at least 2 bands usually, and I don't really want to spend for that right now, nor do I have the space. So hand stitching is the move. Hitting the seam just kind of pushes the threads into the leather a little bit, helps it sit. That was an edge beveler. We want to get those sides nice and crispy. And this is a bone folder. It's crushed up bone in a popsicle stick shape. Really good for creasing and getting glue out of places where you don't want glue. And that's gum tragacanth. So we use this for burnishing the edges. So after you cut leather, you have all these little fibers, and applying some of that and then running it over with a wooden dowel just kind of burns the edges and gets you nice glassy edges, which that's what you want. I also like to burnish with some saddle soap too. Everyone has different ways of finishing the edges. I'm still figuring out what I like the best. Anyways, we arrive at this point and I find out that I fucked up and I made the sleeve too narrow. So that is a useless sleeve. That's okay. That's going in the trash. I am stoked. All right, we start again. Got a new pattern. I didn't include the clips of me editing it in Illustrator, you know, just figure I can let you know that I was doing that. Hope you believe me. All right, try it again. And, you know, this is better. This is better. Now it fits. There are some things to improve upon. I actually, in between that last leather sleeve and these ones that I'm making right now, I did make a third pattern just to update it slightly, just to really hone it in. I don't know where the clips for that went, but anyways, we're now back in the sweatshop. I'm batching them out. I'm making 6 sleeves at once. You know, it's really the way to do it. Might as well knock a bunch out at once. Here I'm, you know, using this glue that, again, I didn't know how to use, and I finally realized that if I use some binder clips, then maybe I can get these to hold together. But yeah, I'm telling you, you know, the one of the downsides of contact cement is it's, you know, super poisonous to breathe in. You know, lots of gases and bad things you don't want. But man, let me tell you, that contact cement is sticky, and for these projects, I just think it helps. And I mean, now I have a heat gun anyway, so I might as well go back to using the contact cement, because it sure doesn't help with this water-based crap. But again, you know, nice that always work in a ventilated area if you're using contact cement. Here, just cleaning them up, and again, the handy-dandy vacuum, burnishing all the edges, and you know, gonna have some nice lighter sleeves. I ended up giving these to some friends for the holidays, but just, you know, getting the lighters in and out, making sure they all fit. Got to use some pliers for the first time because they're a little tight, but they break in, and here we go. See a pretty good fit, and we have some successful lighter sleeves. So I call that all in all a success. Later.